So this is the World Championship Super Sprint. I'm just here for a good time. So for this triathlon, because it's super snazzy, you need tattoos, and you put tattoos on your temporary tattoos, like when you're a kid. You put tattoos on your arms and your calf. You also have to put a tattoo on your swim cap. And because I haven't been a child for many years, I don't know how to put on temporary tattoos. And when I read the instructions, I thought I understood it, and I didn't. So I accidentally peeled the wrong thing off, wetted the wrong thing, stuck the numbers to like the packaging instead of the swim cap, and had a meltdown. Let it dry out, and have just spent the last 20 minutes like peeling the glue off of the plastic. So it'll go back onto the backing paper, so I can resoak the backing paper and stick the numbers back onto my swim cap. The numbers, these stickers, this tattoo isn't supposed to be, it's not a reusable thing. And so the numbers haven't quite come out perfectly. In fact, they look pretty antique, but you can read the number now and it has worked. So I'm basically a pro. Okay, so it is race day. I'm currently wandering around the Palm Park. It's a park full of palm trees because I don't really know what to do. The race is at 4:45, so I need to pick up my hire bike, which I've already seen. It's already got my pedals on it and like the saddles adjusted and all of that kind of stuff. I've already done that, did that yesterday. But I left it there so I didn't have to cart it across town and keep it at my hotel room. I need to go pick up that at 2. It's now 1:10 So I need to go pick up that at 2 and then just kind of like wander around a bit, go to transition about 10 to 3, do transition stuff, and then take my bag to bag drop, and then kill some time before swim start, which is probably my wave starts at 4:45, but I won't be going off at 4:45 because it's a rolling start. So it'll be maybe 4:50, 4:55 that I'll be going off. I've got my tats on, got my tats, fucked up my swim cap tat, but that's okay now, I think. And now I'm just killing time to my race. The crazy thing is that this race is going to take me like half an hour. So this is days of prep. I mean, it's obviously months of prep, but it's days being here. So much stuff to do, like just registering and all of that kind of stuff took longer than the actual race is going to take. It's pretty intense, but I don't really know what I'm doing here. But at the same time, you've got to do what you've got to do, haven't you? Like, you've got to do these things, because how often in life do you get to race at the World Championships for anything? So that's what I'm doing now. I just had a coffee, my last coffee of the day, otherwise I'm going to need 20 wheeze before I go. I'm really nervous, but at the end of the day, I can't get any more fitter, I can't get faster, I can't do anything more. The physical side of it is actually quite easy. I just swim, bike and run as fast as I can. It's the mental struggle of it that is so difficult. You get them on the way out of transition. So now when you leave, you can pick it up. Okay, so I need my shoes, don't need socks, race belt, helmet, glasses, bike. Okay. Now I'm going to walk the in-out bit because it's so incredibly confusing. Okay, transition is complete. Now I get my timing chip. This is such a drawn out process. I've still got an hour until my race starts. I dropped my bag off and did transition stuff over an hour ago now. The 80-year-olds are about to start though, which is every time I get a bit nervous. I'm like, there are people who are 80, 85, 86, 87 racing. So they're heroes. But yeah, the next time I see you will be after my race. So yeah, see you then. Well, that was pretty much the hardest race I've ever done. But look at this. I came here, I did it, I survived. I'll talk about it later. Now I'm gonna relax. Oh, sorry, I'm just drying my hair. I'm just drying my hair up. What's this towel? Oh, that's nothing. Let me just, my hair is really wet, so you know you don't want to see that. Let me just put on my hat. Oh, can't wear a hat indoors, can you? Sorry. So, I'm back home. It was 5 days ago now that I did the Super Sprint World Championships age group edition in Pontevedra in northwest Spain. I then went south to Porto, which is a beautiful Portuguese city, and spent a few days there eating, walking so much, and generally having a nice time. So I just wanted to give a quick recap about what the hell all of that was. A year ago, I sprained this shoulder really badly, not doing anything that I normally do, but playing football with a 9-year-old. And that meant that I had to miss 2 triathlons, or a triathlon and a duathlon, that autumn. And then my shoulder just didn't, it took a long time to recover. And so I didn't want to be putting too much focus on swim through the winter and through the spring through this shoulder, because it still gives me trouble, to be honest. So I decided kind of November time that to get myself through the winter, I was going to focus on Super Sprint Triathlon in 2023 instead of Sprint Triathlon, because Super Sprint, really short swim, I wouldn't have to do too much with this bad boy. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be hilarious if I just raced qualifiers to see if I could qualify for the Pontevedra World Championships age group super sprint. And I thought, well, I mean, I want to do a couple of triathlons anyway in 2023 at least, so one of them may as well be a qualifier, and if I qualify, I qualify, and if I don't, then I race a fun triathlon, and you know, why not? So I raced the Western Park Triathlon in May, I think it was, and I qualified for the World Championships. So that was pretty exciting. Now, I kind of just wanted to qualify, like I wasn't even sure if I would want to really go to Pontevedra, but it was kind of a bit of a long shot. That's how it felt. But after a few weeks of wondering, like, oh well, should I go to Spain? Is it a bit ridiculous? Like, it costs a lot of money to go to these kinds of things. But I decided that you only live once, and how often do you get to compete in the World Championships for anything at all? So I decided, hey, what I like, you know, northwest Spain is very beautiful. I haven't been for years. My partner wanted to visit Porto because he's never been there, so I thought they're only 2 hours apart. We'll make it into a holiday and that'll take the pressure off a little bit. So I spent the last couple of months semi-training for this. You know, life gets in the way, work gets in the way, all of that kind of stuff, but I put as many hours into the pool as I could. I'm still a pretty slow swimmer, but given that I only taught myself how to swim front crawl not that long ago, like maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. I think the summer of 2021 I started teaching myself front crawl. The summer of 2022 I got better at it. much better at it than I obviously was. I couldn't really swim it before. So I'm still not a very fast swimmer, but that is where I put my focus in, sort of in the lead up to this race. So I signed up to the race. On Wednesday, the 20th of September, I flew out to Porto and then we hired a car and drove up to Pontevedra. And I hadn't realised just how big this event was. So the whole Pontevedra is a small city, I guess. It's a phenomenally beautiful place in the Spanish Ríos, and it's right up a río. So a río is like a huge estuary and rivers, you know, flow into it. In northwest Spain, there are loads of them and they're called collectively the Spanish Ríos. So when I was walking around Pontevedra, the first day we arrived, there were just these huge like posters, banners, like all the information about the race was like dotted throughout the city. And then I went to Almeida, which is this kind of like park plaza area where there was this huge expo, like these massive marquees. And that was where you registered. There were like, you know, little stalls there. You could have your picture taken, which is why there's a photograph of me earlier in this video where it's like my name and then me in my suit like, oh yeah. Because there's actually like a photo booth there that you have to go to after registration and have your photo taken so that it can appear in like these different places. The whole thing is insane. And it's not just age group, so there were thousands of age groupers there across super sprint and standard distance, so that's Olympic distance, triathlon. And also there was the elite races there, so you know, people like Alex Beth Potter, who won her race. So you've got these Olympians there who are racing their races, and then you've got thousands and thousands of age groupers from all over the world, and the whole city was just full. It was insane. People are just like zooming around on tri bikes, and you've got like Team Australia and Team Canada. They're all kitted out in their full on kit. It was so cool to be part of that kind of international experience. Like I wasn't expecting these teams to be so cohesive, I guess. Like the whole of Team Australia is there, you know, the whole of age group Team Australia is there in all of their amazing like yellow and green attire. You've got like Canada, Mexico, Colombia, all these different places, Morocco. Like it was absolutely incredible. And you'd just be in a cafe and you'd go into the bathroom and there'd be like a couple of triathletes there just like washing their hands, like leaving, and you're just, the whole city just turned into this triathlon hub. It was absolutely incredible. So I turned up there on Wednesday afternoon, and then Thursday I registered, like had my photo taken, did all the stuff. I hired a bike because I didn't want to take my bike, because flying a bike, I don't have a bike box, like it would cost a lot of money to fly my bike out there, and then I'd have to take care of it there. And because we were then going on holiday to Porto for a few days afterwards, I would have to, you know, like keep it safe, all of that faff, assemble it, disassemble it again, blah, blah, blah. So I hired a bike there and I used List and Ride, which I'll put their link in the description of this video because they were amazing. They're a German company, and I think what they do basically is like just take huge, like loads of bikes around to different events, and you can hire them like in general anyway, I think. But for this, like the World Triathlon Pontevedra they were using this huge hall right near the stadium where most of it was kind of taking place, and that is where their two bike partners, one of whom was List and Ride, like kept all their hire bikes. So you could just turn up there, which was really close to transition, turn up there, get your hire bike, they would do everything for you, change the pedals, you know, make sure it was in perfect condition, adjust the saddle height, all that kind of stuff. And it was really good actually, and it cost quite a lot of money. It cost me about £150 for 24 hours. But considering I didn't have to pay to obviously fly my bike there anyway and fly it back again, and you know, do anything else with it, it was money well spent for me. Also, it turned out the bike that I hired was a lot better than my bike, which makes sense because mine is a ribble gravel bike, like it's not designed for triathlon. So this one that I hired was very light and carbon and generally amazing. And then I was going to take it back to the hotel with me, but it was the other side of the city, and then I would have to carry it up 3 flights of stairs and store it in my hotel room. So instead I decided to leave it there because it was way closer to the race, blah 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 blah. So Thursday was kind of just like faffing around and exploring Pontevedra. And then on Friday, I don't know why the race was so late, but like not delayed, I mean it was just planned late in the day. It might have been a tidal thing because while this is really far up the river, it's still a tidal river. So I wonder if it was the tide. I'm not actually sure, but anyway, the race started, like my wave started at 4:55 in the afternoon. Thank God I wouldn't have wanted to do that at 4:55 in the morning like that. Not 4:55, 4:45. It started at 4:45 in the afternoon, and the super sprint race in general, age groupers, started at 4 p.m. and they sent the like vets off first. So I actually had the whole day to like stress out, run through every single scenario in my head, like running through crashes, because the men, the 15 to 49 or 15 to 45 men, were going off immediately after my wave. And so in my head I was like, oh no, like by the time I get out of the water, the younger men will be getting in the water, they'll be really fast, they'll be overtaking on the bike course. The bike course is really short because it's super sprint, so they'll be like caning it round. What happens if, like, you're not allowed to draft, so you've got to stay 10, 12 meters away from the person in front. What happens if I crash, blah, 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 like I'm blind here. This is racing in Spain, so I'm actually riding on the right side of the road, which is not my strong point because I'm blind here. So people overtaking me, like I really have to look around to see anyone, including cars, like come up on my left side. So all this stuff was like going around in my head. I was also doing my race tattoos, which I, as you saw, fucked up on the swim cap the night before. So I was doing all of that, and then I just had hours to kill, like hours. It was an evening race basically. So I just had the whole day, and I kind of had to like, pick my bike up at this time, plan what I was going to eat when I was going to eat it, do transition at this time, wait around, drop my bag at that time, then get into my wetsuit, then go to like the holding pen for my wave and all this kind of stuff. And it really got into my head, and that was so difficult. And it was really stressful. In the morning I felt really anxious about it, and as the day progressed I felt a lot better. So once things started moving, like after I picked up my bike and then dropped in transition, done all my transition stuff, I was feeling way better after that, even though I still had a couple of hours to kill. So I eventually got into the holding pen. My race was about to start. I was freaking out. 2/3 of the women, I would say, who were racing 15 to 49, I think that was the age range, that was kind of like my wave, and like there are age categories obviously within that, but that was the whole wave. I would say 2/3 of them were not wearing a wetsuit. And the water temperature was 20 degrees, and so it was wetsuit optional. But I'm not, as I've said, a very strong swimmer, so wetsuits really help me stay buoyant, use less energy, and just get through the swim a lot easier. But obviously the trade-off is that while you benefit from that extra speed, you then have to take it off in transition 1. But I deemed that acceptable. So they were playing like really loud pumping music, you're on the carpeted pontoon, you go off in twos, this is in my race, other races go off differently, but in this race you went off in twos, 10 seconds apart. You run down this like carpeted ramp straight into the water and just start swimming. I actually really enjoyed the swim. My sighting was better than it's ever been before, especially after I watched the GTN video about how to sight the night before. Not recommended to leave it that late, but I did it pretty well. I swam the whole thing front crawl. It was only 300 meters around 2 buoys, but to swim that completely front crawl, it's not the distance that I really struggle with, it's that and sighting and the kind of like general adrenaline of it that I really struggle with. So I was really pleased with my swim, even though it was still pretty slow. It was just a second under 7 minutes. And then ran to T1, took my wetsuit off, which took me flipping ages. Sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it's really slow. I don't know what the difference is, but it would not come off. So it took ages in transition 1, then got my bike, got out of the bike course, and the bike course was really empty. Like the men hadn't even gone off yet, so that was really good for me. Or they'd probably gone off yet, but I hadn't seen them. It was only a 6.4 kilometer bike course, so I could absolutely thrash it for me anyway, and just really focus on kind of like reorientating myself. Came off the bike course, went into T2, which is in the same place. All of transition was in the same place for my race. And then started the run, and the run was like half on the running track. Normally running tracks make you run really fast, and I felt like I was running so slowly. And then you run through the streets and there are so many people around and they're all like, go GB, because they can obviously read the tri-suits, every country has a different colour, and you've got your like GBR across your chest. So it was really, really nice how many British people were there just screaming like, "Go GB, you're doing really well." It was like that kind of atmosphere and it was absolutely amazing. Finished the run pretty much one of the fastest runs I've done. For me, it was an average of 4.36 minutes per kilometre, which is fast for me, especially after a bike and swim. I was really pleased with that. Finished, felt like shit, obviously, for the first few minutes, and then the elation hits you and then you can't stop smiling. During that race, I was like, never again. This, honestly, like within a minute of crossing the line, I was like, what race should I do next? What distance should I start working on next? And yeah, so now it's the end of September. It's my birthday tomorrow, actually. And obviously off-season pretty much starts now. Like there are some duathlons and stuff to go. I'm not signed up to any, but I mean like they exist. So now I've kind of got to work out what I'm going to do next year. And I just don't know. But basically, I'm really glad that I went to Pontevedra. I'm really glad that I had the guts to even try to qualify in the first place. Not because I was physically unable to, but more like the mental imposter syndrome of like, well, do I deserve to be here? All of these kinds of things that I'm sure every age grouper feels to some extent. I'm so glad I went. The camaraderie was incredible. British Triathlon did an amazing job with the age group team, organising so much stuff. World Triathlon did an amazing job. Pontevedra did an amazing job. Like, it was just amazing. And I'm really glad I went. And yeah, let this be a lesson that big things are scary, but you should still do them anyway. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope it was illuminating. If you want to know anything more about age group triathlon, then let me know in the comments and I will answer your questions or make a video explaining it, because I'm really new to it too. I only started triathlon in 2021, the summer of 2021. It is now late summer of 2023. So, you know, I'm pretty new to it too, but I've done a lot of learning, a lot of reading in that time. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!